Thinking about my family, I was thinking about my kids. That made me want to get through it.
It's a medical mystery.
All lung cancer in everybody, all race ethnicity is decreasing dramatically, except Asian women non-smokers.
The silent killer that's disconcerting doctors.
About 2017 is when I started getting young Asian patients that were my colleagues.
And how a car crash may have saved this Bay Area mother's life.
I consider myself lucky. I consider myself blessed.
This is CBS News Bay Area with Elizabeth Cook.
When you think of lung cancer, certain stigmas probably come to mind, but these days doctors are seeing something out of the ordinary. An alarming number of Asian American women who don't smoke are being diagnosed, and scientists are struggling to understand why. Today we're talking with a doctor and a patient who says a fender bender may have saved her life. Today we're talking about lung cancer among non-smoking Asian American women. It's a subject that I've reported extensively on. And now we're hearing from an East Bay mother who says getting into a car accident probably saved her life. The accident led to her diagnosis before it was too late. And as our Kevin Coe reports, her story is part of a puzzle that her doctor has been trying to solve in hopes of saving other women just like her.
Fremont mom Maria Cristina Delgado's life took a terrifying turn when she got in her car.
Dropped off my kids with her friends.
She got rear-ended, went in for a routine checkup post-accident, and doctors found a lung nodule that wasn't there before.
I would have never known.
It turned out Maria, an active Filipino woman who doesn't smoke or drink, had lung cancer.
I was shocked when I got the news from the doctor that it was, in fact, cancer. No idea. Was it my diet? Was it my environment? I was thinking about my family. I was thinking about my kids. That made me want to get through it.
Maria laid in the hospital, keeping herself optimistic by sending videos like this from her bed to the people she loves. 3 incisions in her lung and 1 surgery later, she's walking today cancer-free. Cancer she would have never known about if she was never in a car accident.
I consider myself lucky. I consider myself blessed. At first, I was mad at that guy. This jerk, why the heck did he have to hit me, right? But maybe now I have to thank him. I have her cell phone number. Maybe I say, hey, thank you for hitting me. Now you saved my life.
Of course, there's the surgeon who did save her life.
Hi, Dr. Velotta.
Maria is seeing her surgeon for the first time since her operation, remembering the first conversation she had with Dr. Jeffrey Velotta.
This is your situation. This is what I'm studying. It's exactly you, and this is what I'm going to do.
Dr. Velotta regularly removes cancers from the chest, mostly lungs, and he noticed something about 7 years ago.
About 2017 is when I started getting young Asian patients that were my colleagues, that were my friends, that were found to have lung cancer, 30-year-olds. So we looked at all of our Northern California data at Kaiser, and we found that all lung cancer in everybody, all race ethnicity is decreasing dramatically, except Asian women non-smokers.
The reason for this disparity in non-smoking Asian women is still unclear, but Dr. Velotta says his early research shows the highest risk factor for non-smoking Asian women could be a family history of lung cancer. But lung cancer screenings nationwide require patients to be more than 50 years old and have an extensive smoking history.
Right now, if you go into your primary care provider and say, I'm Asian, I'm 50, I don't smoke, I have a family history of lung cancer, your primary care doctor will be like, what? Right? What? You're not covered for that. It really hit home to me that, hey, we need to be doing something more other than just saying, hey, look, it's increasing. But what do we do about it?
That's why he's pushing for changes in screening regulations. He says most non-smoking Asian women don't find out they have lung cancer until it's in its late stages, lessening the effectiveness of treatment.
We caught it incidentally because, unfortunately, she got that car accident. So in her case, we were really, really lucky. And I love that. But what we're seeing the majority of the time, and based on what I see clinically in radiology and based on the research, is that most women, Asian women non-smokers, are not caught with that because they don't get in a car accident or they don't get a routine imaging, so they're caught way too late.
Kaiser is currently working on screening 200 Asian non-smoking women with a family history of lung cancer. Coming up, we're checking in with the mother in the story we just told you about. We'll see how she's doing these days and ask her about that car crash that may have saved her life. Our one-on-one conversation with her right after the break. We just told you the story of one lung cancer survivor who received her diagnosis during medical screening after a car accident. She is joining us live now with an update on her health. Christine, thanks so much for joining us.
Hi, thank you for having me.
First, how are you feeling since your surgery?
I'm feeling great, actually. In fact, today is like what, August 1st? So I had that surgery a month ago exactly, July
Wow.
1st.
Wow, wow,
Yeah.
wow. And you're going to have to go and get screened every certain amount of time, right?
Yes, Dr. Velotta had mentioned to me that he will have me on a screening every 6 months.
And have you not had to have any kind of chemotherapy or radiation or any kind of cancer treatment?
Thank God for that. No, I don't have to go to chemo or radiology or any other treatment other than the surgery that Dr. Velotta had given to me.
That is so fortunate. Now, you mentioned you never smoked. You lead a very healthy lifestyle. Yet data shows Asian American women are more than twice as likely to be diagnosed with lung cancer than any other racial group. Did you know about that statistic when you were first diagnosed?
Honestly, 100% no, no idea. Until after I consulted with Dr. Velotta and learned that there is actually, in fact, that situation where Asian women, particularly Filipina, I guess, Vietnamese and Chinese, that we are prone to have lung cancer without a history of smoking or drinking or anything like that.
Yeah, I mean, we've reported extensively on Asian women and lung cancer, and many of them talked about the stigma of lung cancer being kind of a smoker's disease, and there's often a sense of shame that comes with that. Is that something that you found yourself having to explain to people that, yes, you had lung cancer, but you never smoked a day in your life?
Yeah, exactly. They asked me, so what did you do? How did you get? I mean, most of my friends, of course, my family knows I don't smoke, I don't drink. So when I shared the news with them, of course, we were all shocked. Like, how? How did that happen? What did you do? Like, I don't know, I didn't do anything. I was born in the Philippines, and that could be maybe one of the reason why, but no, I honestly have no idea.
Do you ever think back to that day you got in that car accident with such gratitude that that accident really saved your life?
Yeah, I after that, because that's how we found my lung cancer, right? After we had a X-ray chest for the neck, and then my doctor was discussing to me about the motor vehicle accident, and then after that, she mentioned that there was a small nodule that was found on my left upper lung lobe, and that nothing to worry about. We will continue to surveillance it or screen it every so often, and that's what we did. And so this year, the last CT scan that I've gotten, which was March, that one turned out to be really a cancer when they told me that it grew. And then I had asked for a biopsy, and then the biopsy confirmed it that it is, in fact, a stage one adenocarcinoma lung cancer.
So, what do you want other Asian women to know about your experience and the fact that Asian women, according to this data, are more likely to be diagnosed with lung cancer, yet they're not eligible to be screened, at least insurance won't look at it that way, until they're at least 50 years old and have a history of smoking? What do you want to see change?
I wanted to see that a lot more women, young or old, be proactive into their care. Like, ask their physician whether or not they don't have any symptoms. Like me, I don't have any symptoms. I don't have any family history of lung cancer. I never smoked a day in my life. I never drank. And here I am with that, right? So I guess my suggestion to anyone out there, whether or not you're Asian, whether or not you're young or you're old, proactively and advocate for yourself to let your physician know that you wanted to be tested for this one, for lung cancer, just like any other screening that we have there. We have a mammogram to screen for breast cancer, we have cervical screening, we have colon screening. Why not a lung cancer? Now that the test, and according to Dr. Velota's study, it is increasing, right? So
Mhm.
I hope to save a lot of people out there, the same thing as mine. If you don't get into a car accident, how are you going to find out if you don't consult with your physician? And I know it's not part of, the insurance that would cover that, but push for it anyway.
All right, Christine, thank you so much for sharing this story, this success story, and thank goodness that you got into that car accident and you are alive today to tell us what your message is. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Well, the surgeon who saved Maria's life joins us next. What he thinks may be driving these cases of lung cancer and how he's working to change the screening process. Stay with us. Today, we're focusing on non-smoking Asian American women being diagnosed with lung cancer at a much higher rate than other racial groups. Joining me now is Kaiser Permanente surgeon, Dr. Jeffrey Velotta. Doctor, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you, Liz. Thank you for having me on. Sorry that I'm in my car. Christine and I did not plan me being in the car on the side of the freeway right now.
That's all right. You look great. We can see and hear you perfectly. You started noticing in your practice, you said in about 2017 in Kevin's report, non-smoking Asian women being diagnosed with lung cancer. What do you think is driving the trend?
Yeah, absolutely. I started seeing it in a lot younger group, and really, what the idea is, it's not from screening, because this, as you know from your previous report, it's not from, we don't have a lung cancer screening test. So what we're thinking is that we're just finding the roots of it, and I think that part of it is going to be multifactorial. Some of it could be pollution, some of it could be genetic. But now that we have new biomarker mutations that we can find, blood tests, and find out more information on this, that will help. And that study that we're currently on with the UCSF FAN study, as you heard earlier back in May that you reported on, we're hoping to find out what the actual cause is, because clearly it's multifactorial, and the incidence is increasing every year.
Right. And your Kaiser is doing their own study. You're looking at about 200 women with a history of lung cancer, correct? What are you finding so far, or where are you in your study?
Right. So it's just getting off the ground.
Okay.
But the real big thing, so we haven't started yet, but the real cool thing is this would be the first study on the West Coast. Essentially, there's a study similar that's being done in New York, but they're just looking at women from the age of 40 to 74 years old, all Asian non-smoking women. What we found in our early research was that family history of lung cancer actually is a big risk factor, probably one of maybe the most important risk factor. So we're screening women over the age of 40, but also with a family history of lung cancer. And we think we're going to pick up even more so with that, because in the beginnings of these studies, this is brand new, right?
Mm-hmm.
We do want to try to pick up the highest risk group. And it's, as you probably can imagine, it's not super feasible to just screen all Asian women non-smokers, right, in the Bay Area. So we kind of honed in on a subset group with a family history of lung cancer, and we think that's going to be the highest risk group as of right now.
You know, one element that kind of keeps coming up with a lot of our reporting on this issue is possibly a link between cooking on gas stoves, which, as you know, a lot of Asian women do, especially over a walk. Do you find any validity to that link?
It is in China.
Okay.
So in certain areas in rural China, there's actually up to 30% of the women have actually gotten lung cancer, but they cook with coal and they don't have any outdoor ventilation. Everything's indoor. So we have seen that, but we don't see that in the States, because, as you can imagine, there is slightly better ventilation. It's a different socio-demographic population. So I don't think that holds up, or that hasn't showed up to hold in Asian American women, and just that's just mostly in subset of women in particular areas of China with high walk rates with no ventilation.
I want to get this last question in, because so many of your patients, Christine being the exception, and thank goodness she got into that car accident and you caught her lung cancer, but so many of the patients you're seeing, when they're finally diagnosed, it's already stage 4, and they're so young, sometimes in their 30s and 40s. Why is it taking so long for these women to start to see any symptoms?
That's the issue. It's that it's really a silent disease in the beginning. A little small lung spot, you're not going to feel anything. You're often only going to have a mild cough. So the issue why we're getting caught earlier, it's not that the disease is more aggressive in Asian American women non-smokers. It's actually that it's just caught way later. And because it's not caught till you have symptom after symptom after symptom, you get the reflux medication, you get asthma medication, and they doctors aren't aware of this phenomenon, as we know. And so they don't get it till it's too late. And I think that's the issue, is that, Christine put it perfectly, you have to be proactive about your health, and you have to say, hey, there's something not right. There's something not right. Can I get an imaging study? At the very least, an x-ray early. But really, we really want a CT scan now, and we want it earlier than later. So not waiting several months or even years. And a lot of these women, years have passed by with these symptoms.
That's right. Dr. Jeffrey Velotta with Kaiser, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
And we'll be right back.